Welcome everyone. Literally when I just touched the button, it went from 136 to 137, which is the 36 of Atlas and the 37 of the King of Cups, which is unconditional love, and the 3 keys of alchemy, and the 1, of course, the magician embodiment of those energies. So much to bring you today. There's a lot about alchemy that was coming up today. Literally, the symbols of enlightenment. I was guided to go through my my TrinoSophia book that I've showed you before, and it actually brought us to the last page of translation, which is enlightenment. So there's this very powerful energy of enlightenment here. Ia came up as well today. Just a lot of energy from the past 3 or 4 days. We're starting basically from the 10th through today, which is the 14th. Today is the 14th, which is the Temperance card, and it adds up today to the 3 of Wands, which is 29. Sometimes it is waiting for your ships to come in, but it's in the Ascension. It really is about being present in the moment. So I want to get right into this energy. Right before I started, I did have to take Teddy outside. And right before I did that, I pulled these cards from the Fortune's Oracle. And the underlying energy was of the all for one and one for all energy of abundance here with the 1, again, magician embodiment, the divine masculine, the magician. And again, all the hands coming together. As the lovers was the first card out, with the 18, which is the moon and romance, the romance of lovers and the 2 paths, right? Always choosing to be true to yourself. And then we have the judgment card too, which references enlightenment. And a lot of what was coming up in the past few days is the only ones who can sit in judgment are the ones that have that, who have done that work on becoming the wise human, right? To be able to put your ego aside and sit in neutrality, which is a very difficult thing for a human being to do. And there's the 14 of today, of the Temperance card, of being the patient angel of balance and allowing the magic to jump off the pages. And here's the star. We have the wake-up call. But again, there is a message in here about the story jumping off the pages, so we'll get there when we get there. But then we have the moon again with the 21, which is the world. So again, Gaia and the moon come up as the mother and the daughter energy. And then we have the 35 of the heart, which you see when the heart is squared, it is an open book, as we have the open book here. All right, so very much energy of romance here with the 18 and the moon, the world of Gaia, right? The open book of the awakened heart, the wish of the 35 wounded warrior, which is the surrender, surrendering our ego, letting go, and finding wholeness, completion, the 2 and the 1 of the feminine and the masculine. Okay, so the moon, a lot of moon energy right here. As the new moon is on the 16th, so we're in that energy now. So let's see where this all takes us. So we'll take a few deep breaths first and get right in. I think I have 3 of my messages of the day and then the abbreviated twin flame read on the table. Let's just go ahead and take a few deep breaths. Take a deep breath. Another deep breath. One more deep breath. I'm being told to blast Venus with some love. Bringing Mars into it like the Vesica Pisces, and then the Earth into that to make the the three together. Okay, so here we go. We're going to roll the die. We'll do oracle cards at the end as well. Again, today's August 14th, 2023 for the twin flames. What are the energies we're dealing with today? Don't let me forget too about word. I was just meditating prior to the video as well. We have the three, which is again Mother Nature, the Empress, abundance, and it also references the bird soaring. That's Taurus energy as well. And then we have Leo coming up as well in the middle, right? The lion child, which we're still in Leo energy till about the 21st. And then here we have the moon, which is Cancer energy, which just came up with the moon twice. So the moon is very significant here as we're going into this new moon energy of moving from Leo into Virgo, but we also have the three of Taurus energy hanging out here. So Taurus, Leo, and Cancer. But I'm getting more of the world, like this is Gaia, right? So this is Mother Nature and the moon, and the mother and daughter came up. And again, the child of the Leo energy, which is also the leadership energy of the child. I'm also looking at the circle and the Leo symbol here because the Chi Rho is coming up here, the Christos energy, which I wasn't familiar with, and so they're taking me into that energy this past week. And again, in the Chi Rho, there's that energy of the P at the top in the circle of the star with the X and the plus sign of the horizontal and the vertical pillars. So, and I was looking to see in the P what this represents, and not according to necessarily what a book tells me, but what are they guiding me to as the answer for that. So that will come up today as well. All right, so the mother, the daughter, the moon, and the earth, Gaia, Terra, Gaia, and then the Leo energy of the child in the center there. And we are at the crescent moon now since we're not quite at the new moon, which is on, I think it's the 16th. So don't forget, we're still in that energy of the return, the boomerang of Montauk and the Philadelphia experiment. So please send love to those areas, Philadelphia, New York, Virginia, just the tri-state area, which includes New Jersey as well. And again, New Jersey, you know, that's the connection to right where the Statue of Liberty is coming up right now. So send lots of love to those areas. Shasta was coming up as well as the root chakra, and Greece and Egypt coming up as well. They came up today again with the alchemy energy. So let's see what else comes up as we go. Oh, so when I meditated just before the video, I was asking for, I wasn't really getting much of a visual to give you, but I was asking for a word. What was the most important word? And so the word came up because they really were showing me the circle in the middle is the human embodiment of source, right? So that's the human experience. And the W is the two U's of the push and pull of the twin flame energy, and then the RD is the road, the path of this. Also represents R&D as research. So the experiment, again, the human experiment of the two U's of the push and pull, but again, expanding our enlightenment to that of the Pleiades, which they live in that twin flame energy as two souls as one. So, and Spirit's connecting with me. So they're really pulling in that energy to give you some kind of reference point as to what we're aiming for. And it's just very much that energy of, and I'm in, you know, the Philadelphia area, which is that energy of brotherly and sisterly love, because it takes that sexual energy out of the equation regarding love, the purification of love. And it's not taking sex out of the equation, it's taking the tainted energy out of the equation in order to purify it through that brotherly and sisterly love energy prior to bringing in that sexual energy, which is already a part of the twin flame connection, right? That's already a given. It's already been felt. They already both know it. but it's about the purification of the love relationship. So this first message, as we start back at the 10th, and I brought that up a little bit. So when you say the vowels A-E-I-O-U, notice what your mouth does. The A is, the A kind of pulls your mouth out, so it makes more of an oval. E kind of makes the smile, it pulls your corners up, and it makes your eyebrows go up as well. It's more of a smiling energy. And then the I is more of a neutral energy. And then the O is, of course, the full circle. And then the U is more of a kiss, right? It's that small, tiny circle. So the energy of AEIOU is coming up, as I said before. The AE, which represents bright light or ash, means bright light in Pleiadian, according to Elena Danan's book, A Gift from the Stars. And so Ea references Enki, which that comes up here too, which is Ea. And the reason it's Enki is because En means, is translated as Lord, and then Ki, she's literally said recently that that's Ki is the word for earth in Anunnaki. So Enki was that title of Lord of Gaia, but also represents, as this comes up, the history of Anu and Gaia being husband and wife, okay? And then the IOU is the ash of the human experience, the enlightenment of the human, the bright light, and Ea's IOU to their humans, right? So we'll get into the story a little bit about that and why we're Ea's children, and the bright lights that he owes you, IOU, is coming through. And again, when you draw the circle of the O and the I, which looks like more of an oval horizontally. I'm not drawing it like the letter I, but horizontally because it's the shape of the mouth. And then the ash on top. All right, so it comes out to this symbol. It looks like Saturn, or just the orbit of the Earth, right, and all its children, right? The O, the I, and the dot in the middle is the U, the U, right, the kiss. And then here's the AE, or the ash on top, right? The icing on the cake, the bright light within. And also it looks like an eye with the eyelid looking at you. And again, Saturn could be coming up as well, because then we can get into all the energies of Uranus, and then Kronos and Zeus, all the other kids, okay? So emotionally attached here, Ea to EA is emotionally attached to Adam and Eve, AE. And again, that comes up as Adam and Eve come up as the heartbeat, all right? The evening out, right? We know Sarah, as in seraphim, Sarah is the evening, okay? And then here we have the Adam, okay? Really, the dam should be up there, but the spark of Adam, and then the evening out of Eve. But the well, I guess the A is the one, is the shooting up. I always get that as the number 4, though, as going up to source before starting over at the 1 again. So you may use just depending on your perspective, like anything else. And then the dam is at the bottom, where kind of creates a moat kind of around the castle before evening out again on the other side. Again, the heartbeat. So now in the 11th hour came up. And on the 11th, my great niece was born, Olivia Ann, who's beautiful and healthy little girl. Some of you know those same parents went through losing their child last year. So it's just a beautiful energy. She's wonderful and healthy, and I'm sure they're so happy to take her home. The first message here that came up, oh, I hope I have, let's see here. All right, so this first one, I just have to get them in order here. So I have a few other pictures between. Let's see what's going on here. So Fortune's Oracle and the Journey of Love, is it this one? Shaman and nature. Okay, so here's our first one. The deck at the top is Fortune's Oracle, and then Journey of Love, and then the Shaman Oracle, and then Nature's Whispers was there at the bottom. Okay, for those of you not familiar, it's the underlying energies at the bottom of the deck on the left. I usually pull 3 cards and then use the additional cards that want to come out organically for numerology and finish out the story. All right, so this first one was done on the 10th. This was at 253 to 56, which is the 2 of the feminine and the higher self, the 53 of the Knight of Swords, 54 of the Page of Swords, the 55 of the Ace of Swords, Excalibur, which came up today as well, and then the 56 of the 2 of Swords. I don't want to forget to please go to my Instagram. I'm putting out messages every day now. The card of the day referencing which tarot card numerologically comes out that day, and there's usually 2, right? The day that it is, like today's the 14th, so I post the Temperance card, and as well sometimes I will also post the other card, which would be the addition of numbers of the day, which today is 29, which is the 3 of Wands. And then I also have been posting from Crystal Angels and sometimes the Fortune Oracle as well. So, and I always post music with it. Make sure to listen to the music with the message. There's definitely messages to read as well. So please go into those messages. The message that I got today regarding enlightenment and alchemy, I did explain a bit in that message with Crystal Angels today, so check that out. Sometimes it's easier for you to understand it if you see the words that I'm showing you, because there's a lot of symbolism in what comes through for me, as you well know if you listen to me. So the numbers, the piles at the end of these decks came out to 1112 and 9392. And I looked up all those numbers in gematria, and the 1112 came out. The first entry was Bringer of the Age of Aquarius, Bob Joyce, Heart Over Mind, Shock and Awe, Ambiguity, I wrote Ismness, Signed, Sealed, Delivered, and then 939 and 989, I looked up both because the 8 wanted to pop up there too, which then brings up the 8338 energy of the Queen of Cups. 939, first entry was Sydney, and then Covenant, Invasion, the Holy Spirit, and then Decode, Don, Trump, E, Message. 989, the first entry was William, and then Drew, then Johannes Mueller, the God of Heaven, the Rising of the Phoenix. So from the numbers, the Covenant and the Holy Spirit were coming up, the co-creation of the Q and the Q as the gate holders, which represents feminine energy, justice of new perspective of the awakening, or the 11th and 12th being significant, as this was, I was writing this on the 10th, and again, that's the 11th was when Olivia was born. But also the 11th, 12th, 13th is that window of when the Philadelphia experiment in Montauk was supposed to bounce back. The Hermit and the Knight of Cups, and CERN was brought into that too, by the way. The Hermit and the Knight of Cups, 2, and co-creating with the 3 of Wands, which is today. Co-creating the 3 of Wands, the present, the gift, the Queen of Cups, and the Knight of Cups, or the Knight of Cups and their higher self. At 320, which is the 3 of the Empress of the Earth, of the 3 coming together in joy, its siblings and socializing, and the 20 of the Judgment card and the wake-up call. The underlying energy was the 2 of the Angel, the 21 that she is the Moon, 30 of the Horseman, and 50 of the potential gateway. The Wing Makers came up there. The Wing Makers. Who was it? Someone was describing their experience. I don't know if it was Elena Denon or someone else. She may be related to them. They were talking about their experience having been in another dimension, where the cities were very high and built up, and there were the wing makers. So that's been coming up a lot in my messages. The wing makers, the divine feminine and the higher self, Pisces and Cancer energy, where she is the moon, and remember the moon was coming up as the daughter energy. 2-part feminine and 1 part masculine, and again the 3 circulars to make it more feminine than masculine, to take some of that ego flame out of it, right? More of the subtle burn, right? The slow burn, which is the energy of enlightenment. Stretching your wings, your arms, and your lungs, and bringing the energy back into your heart. The divine feminine union and the world, the home, and the Knight of Wands horseman, giddy up, in the heralding of change, to the enchanted forest, with no time to waste, headed home to the 10 of Cups, which is emotional fulfillment, enlightenment for everyone. At 333, that was, and then I took Teddy out right there, and then 336 is the underlying energy of the sun, and again, Gaia, Terra, Earth, and the 36 of Atlas, which is the 10 of Wands, the weight of the world. The underlying energy of the sun, 30, 36 again of the world, 2 of the angel, and then union of the Sirius sun and the earth and the angels. And 30362 is coming up. So 362, but I wrote 365 by accident. So I ended up looking up that number as well. So 362 was Castle Rock, Rose Garden, Codex, Manchester, Haile Selassie, 1, April 2nd. April's been coming up a lot too. I think it came up, April 19th came up today. The End of Time, Priceless, Saint Germain, and I'm dealing with Saint Germain today for sure. Castle Rock, Stone Cold, and Bloodline of Enoch. So of course with Saint Germain, Thoth also comes up, and the Keys of Enoch. The 29 of the prime meridian, which is the longitudinal 0 point. And it's number 29, by the way, again, which is today, the 3 of Wands. And Teddy's dreaming right now. The prime meridian at longitudinal energy, which is right by where CERN is. It runs through France and Spain, I believe, up to that area. I'm not sure all the countries. Of course, it goes through Africa as well. I think it goes through Algeria and then down to the Antarctica as well. I know it goes, though I was trying to find the closest 0 point city at one point in France, and that was coming up as Luz, L-U-Z, which also comes up as that indestructible bone in the body. And Atlas of France were coming up here. Morocco, Algeria, Spain, and actually my daughter just went to Spain with a friend. And again, CERN, I don't think it runs directly through CERN, although it might underground, but if not, it's right next to it. So again, the tri-state area and the tri-mountain area, so I brought up the tri-state area here of Philadelphia, or Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, and then the tri-mountain area of the Swiss Alps, the French Alps, and the Italian Alps, which all connect at Courmayeur. So I looked up 365 as well, and date of birth came up with that one, as well as Adolf Hitler, Black Mirror, Impossible, Minnesota, and Scout. Arrested Seeress, or Seer, S-E-E-R-E-S-S. Diana Ross also came up, and she had come up that day prior to me getting this information in a song that I posted. I think I had posted Ben with Michael Jackson, and she was coming up with the music that day. At 352, again, the Empress and the Queen of Swords, Lady Liberty, an expansion around the world of the wing makers, the union of Atlas and the angel, her harvest, through the 26 of the plane, the 31 thorns, and the 18 of the lovers, the Page of Wands taking off through the thorns, and again, the thorny crown that we've been dismantling, to the lover's romance, and to be true to yourself on that journey. And again, somebody was, that day, I guess I read something online about the shell plant with all the flames polluting their area. And again, that I think it was in Ohio. Again, that same border of Pennsylvania and Ohio, where the plant exploded there too. So there's a lot of pollution going on right there, which is right on the border of Pennsylvania, as I just talked about the tri-state area, so that extends into Ohio as well. So lift off, arms up and stretch and breathe, spread your wings. And again, there's this connection to the lungs and the heart. Remember after the 1, 2, 3 leap to reach to the 4 before back to 1 and 2 for the lover's romance. Be true to yourself. Ishtar also came up this day, 32 of the transformation and breaking the chains, and the birds connecting them. So the breaking of the chains and then the birds bringing them back together, but in a different way. The 5 of celebration, of opening the gift, the rolling stone, the window, the box of bright light. And remember, the 5 is the Hierophant, which is in alchemy is the master of the hidden house. Wrapping it up, or getting out of jail free card here, with 14, which is today. Remember, I wrote this on the 10th. 14 and 29, which is today. The 14 of Temperance and the 29 of the 3 of Wands. As above, so below, right off the pages of the squared heart, which I showed you in the beginning. And remember, the squared heart is the energy of the old way of writing the gamma ray, right? It reflects itself, the 2 gamma rays, the old and the new. The heart squared becomes that open book. Or 2 hearts of 2 plus 2, the 2 is coming up as very significant here as 2 plus 2, and 2 times 2 equals 4. The 4 chambers times the 4 chambers. So the plus and the multiplication. So again, the symbol of the plus sign, the symbol of the X of multiplication, come together in that chi rho that I brought up in the beginning as well, the Christos symbol. That symbol I'll show you when I get to that drawing. So the 4 plus 4 of 8, of course, and then 4 plus 4 is 16. The 8 of the dance, the manifestation of dreams, the back and forth between the masculine and feminine, and the 16, of course, is the tower energy of the epiphany, of sudden events, of the crown being blown out of the water. A dance and the flame just went a little crazy. It was dancing just now. I just noticed that out of the corner of my eye. I wasn't looking at it. A dance of the towering event as the story comes alive of the patient angel of a higher love, the patron saint, where the patron is the Pa or the father, Tron, and again Metatron coming up, the magnetic service, and Sophia, ain't. So the Pa is Tron and Sophia ain't as the saint. And P.S., a wake-up call from the wizard's oracle, the Alchemist, where Al also came up recently from the Philadelphia experiment. And the heart, again, squared, is the open book. The squared heart, or the exponential, creates its own story. It's our story, her story of the angels, and the one who gels, angel, with God and the L and S, which is the Elohim and the Seraphim. The heartbeat that leaps off the pages, the merging together and yet separate too, side by side to connect the dots. And that's interesting too, because I dot came up with peridot this morning. And that came up in my Instagram message. Side by side to connect the dots, the leap, the arc, the bridge, the whispering bench, the gift of dreams that come true. It can happen to you if you're young and squared at heart. Putting it out there and watch it come back. And this watch energy, just imagine a clock with the hands, the circle with all the roads that lead home to the center. Putting it out there and watch it come back. A boomerang of boo, me rang, and boom, e rang. And e and me came up very significantly here regarding the Anu and regarding the, I guess they both were symbolisms from the Anu. So in the Anu, and this comes up from, Wikipedia and general information about Ea and Enki. So Ea, some of the symbolism for Ea is EA, or E-A, the stars of EA, the house of water, the lord of water, and semen. The number 40, which is the Page of Cups for me, comes up as Ia's number, and Mercury as well. The square of Pegasus. So there's this square, to be young and square, of Pegasus, pegged as us, or US. And remember what I said too, Enki is the En of Lord of the Earth, and En, the lowercase en, just happened to end up being my code for JC. Totally separate from this, had nothing to do with this in the beginning of my journey. So Enki is the En of Lord and Ki of the Earth, and the capital E is the temple or the home, and AB is also reference to the water and the semen. So again, the Ia is the E of the house or the temple, of the A, which is the water or semen. Again, so the feminine temple and then the semen. So again, it's always about creation and Adam and Eve and, the A and E and E and A. So as we go forward here, the heartbeat that leaps off the pages merge together and yet separate two side by side to connect the dots. The leap, the arc, the bridge, and the whispering bench. So we get down to this boomerang of boo me rang and boom e rang, where the energy of the ghost and the sea and the ANG of the boomerang, which is the incubus, the nightmare, the I am, the angle, the track, the water basin, and the fragrance, the wood or bamboo to measure the grain. And remember, the fragrance is of the violet that sheds on the heel that crushed it, that forgiveness is that fragrance. And the M and the E literally is the word for the gift of civilization of the Anu, M-E. So M for me is also co-creation of the two ones with the V in the middle, which also can be translated as 111. And also M can be the letter D as well, is a shortened abbreviation for M, because M used to be written as two parentheses with the one in the middle. And then D is short in symbolism also for that same thing. So MD and the parentheses with the one, which is also the pi symbol if you put the parentheses together with the one in the middle. So you see how they all come together here. So the M and the E, which I always talk about the E being the one and the three horizontal lines, which is equal and congruent to. The amine, which is blood. And M-E also came up with an accent there over the E, means to collect or collection, or it makes the word into, from the verb to collect to the collection. So the me, remember too, is the rolling stone, the M, the E, the W, and the 3, right? They're rolling the letter that's the same in each way. And also that can reference sigma there with the M as well, which actually can be translated into the W and a couple of the other rolling stone symbols. So they all come up as the same. The box that comes together and makes the gift, right? The square with the cross in it, the plus sign, the energy of miwi, and the pocket comb came up when I drew the different letters here, or keys. And then on the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled, and I swear that was angel dust, 30 years ago, but I don't know, it's moon dust in the lyrics. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair of gold and starlight in your eyes of blue. The angels command, and then Ishtar came up again. And so I looked up Ishtar, and Ishtar came up when I was posting. It came up as an autofill when I was writing another word. I forget what the word was, but Ishtar came up, and I actually wrote that in the message that day. It was just a couple days ago. So I looked up Ishtar because I don't know much about Ishtar, and I'm sure I've read about Imana Ishtar before, which I have, but I just don't retain that information unless they bring it up for me. So Ishtar's temple is in Mari, and the Liberty Throne also came up here, which is what's coming up as the shit throne in definition, which is literally the toilet. So the Statue of Liberty, or the Liberty Throne, being the toilet. And Anu's daughter, Ishtar, the star of Ishtar. So this is the proportions aren't perfect, but this is the star of Ishtar, of Venus in the heavens, which when they abbreviate the symbolization, they become rosettes. And it's on the Iraq flag as well. So Anu's line, and Anu is father of the sky, which is Enki's father, and that equates to Uranus. And Uranus, again, urine and anus, pee and poop, so the toilet is very fitting there. Anu's spouse was Ki, or the earth, or Gaia, and Antu, or Urash, Namu. The Anunnaki are the offspring of Anu, the Namu mother of Enki. And again, there's many variations of stories, so some of that will come up here, but I'm not going to get into it too much. You can certainly read up on it more if you want, but I am going to give you some of the information here that came up. So is Urash Enlil, and is Enlil equal to Ishkur, K-U-R, or Enki and Ishkur were twins of Urash? And Enki also references the keeper of the divine powers called Me, or the gifts of civilization. So M-E is literally the gifts of civilization. And Enki is the keeper of that, right? The father of the human seeding, basically. With 2 streams of water into the shoulders, which references to me as Gemini standing on the shoulders of Orion, and the Tigris and Euphrates River, right? So the Tigris and the Euphrates cat energy of the Euphrates. The flounced skirt and the cone hat, and that was brought up the cone heads for me, and the eagle who lands on his arm. So again, this is all about Enki. So the seeding of humanity, the gifts of civilization, again with the 2 streams of water, and again referencing the Kundalini, and the cone heads, the flounced skirt of the triangle, and then the eagle that lands on his arm. And the square of Pegasus that I brought up before, pegged as us, or the U.S. And again, the new birthplace on Earth, Terra, Gaia. Okay, so Enki and Ninhursag in the paradise of Dilmun, pure, which is this reference to paradise as a pure, clean, and bright place. And so Ishtar comes up as the daughter of Anu, but it doesn't always come up that way when you read about Enlil and Enki of Anu. It's because there's lots of different names and different cultures. But again, the kids of Anu, of the sky and the heavens, and Ki of the earth, or Gaia. The energy of the E, which is the house, like I said, and the temple. SAG is the word for the head. So Sagittarius is coming up as the horse's head. And then LLA is the Akkadian goddess, LLA, and first of the 7 stages, the 7 sages who made the humans. So, Enlil was demanding that Enki and his mother basically use their DNA, or, do what he says as far as creating the humans, as he's in charge. And then there was only one language with Enlil in charge, but then Enki developed other languages with the humans. So that's when the dissension started happening, and Enlil started getting pissed off at the humans. So what's the word here? A Canaanite way of pronouncing Ea was Y-A-H-U, Akkadian, and again comes up with the Yahweh reference. Also associated with God Yam, Y-A-M-M, which references the sea, or Judge River, and earlier than that was Y-A-W, and then Y-A', which for me reminds me of Yaya, which is Greek for grandmother, but also comes up as me. So there's that M-E again of the gift of civilization. So despite being a place where the raven utters no cries, the lion killed not, and the wolf snatched not the lamb, Unknown was the kid killing dog, like it was paradise, right? Unknown was being rain devouring boar. The Dilmun and the Bahrain, the two seas of the fresh and the salt, of Aquifer and the Persian Gulf. The Sumerian Namu, or Namnu, the mingling of the waters, Namu, N-A-M-M-U, identified as the mother of Enki. He caused the flow of the water of the heart, fertilized the consort, again, his partner, and Ki, referencing his mother, the 9 days referencing the 9 months of Nintu, the mother of the land, and then Ninsar, the lady greenery. So the first wife left, so then he has sex with the daughter, not knowing it's her, and then Ninsar leads into Ninkura, which is lady pasture, and again the same thing happens. He has sex with the granddaughter. Ninkura is seduced, and then we have the little spider, the weave of the web of life, Utu, U-T-T-U. So Utu is warned to stay away from Enki because he keeps sleeping with all his children, right? And he ends up eating the plants of his own sperm and gets pregnant. And then he's really ill because he has no way of birthing a child, but he gets all swollen. He has swelling in his jaw. They list specifically the teeth, the mouth, the hip, the throat, the limbs, the side, and the rib. So the fox asks Enlil, the king of the gods, if I bring Ninhursag to you, what is my reward? She is forced to take his semen again, Ninhursag, and again the AB, which references the water and the semen as well, to birth the healing gods for each body part. So in order to heal every body part that's swollen, she has to birth a child, right? So Ninti, her title, the mother of all living, and the title to Kiba, K-H-E-B-A, the human goddess, and Eve, where Adam is reflecting Enki's story here as well. The Ebzu of Tiamat's consort threatens to destroy the world and his waters, the wrath. So Enki imprisons Ebzu, but gets angry about this. Enki refuses to further get involved, using Ebzu for irrigation here. So the gods seek the patriarch at the time, Enlil's help, Enki's older brother, to say yes, that Enlil will say yes if they make him king of the gods, or this reference of Zeus, where Enlil's role is then taken by Enki's son, Marduk, Ashur, that Enlil makes Tiamat with arrows of his wings, an arch of her ribs, her tail in the sky as the Milky Way, her crying eyes the source of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. But then who will keep the cosmos working if Enlil is changing his position? So Enki in a deep sleep and fails to hear their cries. So the mom, Namu, also of Abzu and Tiamat, goes to Enki so that Enki will be advised to create the servant of gods, the humans of clay and blood, but against Enki's wishes. They Ute Kingu. Enki uses his blood for the first human. 7 sages or wise men, the Ab Galu. So again, Ab is the water or semen, then Galu is Gal of the great, and Lu, L-U, referencing, that can be that Lucifer energy, actually means man. So the water great man of Ab-Gulu, the 7 sages, the wise men, the Adapa, his mother to birth with the help of wife and child Nintu. So Adapa advises the king of Eridu, the Me, of the kingship descends on Endu. Or Enlil ordered the mother to create a human with Enki. The dragon, K-E-I-R, underworld here, could be Abzu there. And it started pouring outside when I was going through this area here of the story. Enlil had one language, like I said, but Enki with the humans, because he was getting irritated with Enlil and his power, and he felt for the humans, creates another language. So Enlil gets pissed off, and then they have the deluge. Enki with a ship to then rescue his family. So again, there's the Noah's Ark thing. After the 7-day deluge, the flood hero frees a swallow, a raven, and a dove to see if the flood has receded. Upon landing, makes a sacrifice to the gods. So again, that's the story, basic story. So the gift from the stars is the gift of civilization, or me, M-E. The gift, which is the present, all right? So the rolling stone, the E-W, 3, and M equals the present, with the A-E of Adam and Eve, the ash on top, which means bright light, or the icing on the cake, the co-creation of one equal and congruent to. The me of civilization. The E is the temple, remember. And the A of the Ia is the temple and the water, semen. Where Adam to take his emotions to the temple and deliver. So this reference of the father of Adam and Eve. And the Kundalini comes up here. So the gift from the stars is the gift of civilization, or me, where it's referencing paradise or purity, where the stars are all clean now. The 21 and the 11 of the moon and the flowers of earth, as Mother Gaia and daughter Ishtar moon, are protected by the star fleets, or the escorts. And that day, on the 10th, Aldebaran and Capella were coming up in Taurus and Gemini. And Sophia courts. The 20 of marriage and the Hieros Gamos, those who sit in judgment only of gods and the highest caliber, right? Because you can only sit in judgment if you are of the most neutral vibration, where two waters flow. As the 27 remembers the Queen's Gambit, the Q and the gamma ray, which become the two circles of the Vesica Pisces, which actually the two Qs is just the reference to the three circles. There's always three circles there. The proposal of the Queen's Gambit, the Hieros Gamos, her zeros game, the Vesica Pisces, the water energy of the Pi seas, of the salt and the fresh vortices coming together, like the vortices in the ocean coming together. The symbol of Pi, again referencing the Pi of simple balance of the human embodiment of Source, becomes the Pi seas at the end, the enlightenment of going inside out each other, and then the vertical line becomes the horizontal line, the turning of the key. So shifting and then flipping inside out of each other, through each other, and then corded together with that locked line, so to speak, going from Pi to Pisces. Of the 28 of the twin flames, so going from the 27 of the Queen's Gambit, of the Vesica Pisces, to the 28 of the twin flames, the Hydra snakes of the Kundalini. To know your power, because you need to be careful, it's potent. The energy wave, show of power, which is the literal translation of the Kundalini. The Kun is the only, and we have the DA of the Father, lines. Lini, L-I-N-I, is lines, which is the arc, right? The two dots and the arc between, the bridge. So the Kun, which is only in width enough, and the 1,000, right? The 1,000 suns of illumination. The husband, day, sun, shit, oil, and broken woman, or brazen woman, I'm sorry. And Father Arc comes up with the K-U-N. So alone in width, and enough of Father's energy of the 1,000 suns to get through the day, and oil to burn through the night. The Father and the Son's arc, and you notice here there's Father and the Sons, as before we were talking about the mother and the daughter. The Father and the Son's arc to take you there, right? The bridge is the 3340 Rainbow Christ Consciousness Bridge to Father. So the 6 and the 26 of the underlying energy of the two, the within nothing there is everything. The 39 of letting the feminine lead the way, and the bridge also referenced the ray, right? The sun is the source, and then the rays are the sun, basically is the bridge to us, as the daughter is the womb, whose rays then go back to the sun. They intertwine with each other, just like hands coming together. The phased array of the sun, and then the phased arrays of the child in the womb, the little daughter girl of the moon. the 39 of letting the feminine lead the way, and the 68 of dropping into your heart, and the 21 that she is the moon. Gaia's womb, and then bursts as she gains her independence, becomes the moon. Birth, the Knight of Cups, the Kundalini Wrangler, the Page of Pentacles, that she is the moon. Luna, Una. The moon, M-O and O-N, the combination of Mary Magdalene and J-C, her M-O and his energy, on. The L at a right angle of 1. The Pisces of the Pisces symbol of the two C's back to back with the line across, which references a leap in dimension, leaping, crossing boundaries. And again, the 2 pi energy becomes the infinity, right? Where the hourglass in the middle, and then the two separate entities of the half and half moon on either side, which is the infinity symbol. And again, the leap between dimensions here, and that corded tie between the masculine and feminine as the Pisces symbol. So the 1 of the heart fire, the 46 of just for the moment joy, 18 of distant shores came up, and the sun shines through the mother's heart to create the moon and a little satellite. The 6 of cups, of joy and romance, of the 4 moons coming in. And so 4 moons from then was coming up, the full moon in November, which I think is the 27th and a Monday. And then Thanksgiving is 11/23 this year. So 11/23/23. And perhaps having all the kids coming home. So there's references bringing the family together. The 13 of gifts received in transition with the 27 of the Queen's Gambit and the etheric touch. The 49 of the Woman of Light and self-satisfaction there, getting your wish, with Mother Nature shifting in the Queen's Gambit, her daughter of Vesica Pisces, the holy water showered in light or awakening to getting their way. A blast to the heart now and to the crown, 11/27/2023. With the 59 at the 11th hour of the Temple of E Tower of Lady Liberty. A gathering in the spaces between of the 2 and the 4, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Where 2 is the space between 1 and 3, and then 3, 4, 5 in a different way is the space between the 3 and the 5. The 24 of the Enlightenment, the Omega and the Queen of Wands, the Omega 63 and then 44 and 36 come up of the light field, the rings of time and cosmic butterfly, fully exposed on the bridge with Hercules and Atlas, the feminine and the masculine, folding inside out, adding up to 107 and 80 or 143, all three together. The 143, when I looked up in Gematria, is the rock. So again, there's the reference of the rolling stone and the earth, which is the rock. The frog, the hero, and them. And that was at 702, referencing the gamma ray, the key, the chariot, and the 2 of the queen, and the divine feminine, and the high priestess, higher self. So again, the Vesica Pisces 702 is the reflection of, with space between though, reflection of the 27 of the Queen's Gambit. So the space on the bridge and rings of time and the map of intent for her harvest or Hercules and Atlas at last, her harvest at last. At 707, the 2 sevens of the boomerangs and the space between, the human embodiment, the human experience, and the underlying energy of the 55 of the farther gate, the 6 of the cosmic womb and the 30 of the horsemen, the airlock in the mountain, and 2 suns, Excalibur entrance into the womb of the divine feminine, releasing the horseman, the Knight of Wands, into union, woohoo, as the lover's union after 60, which is the 6 of swords and peace, the watcher's totem of the Tyon, the tiger lioness in the desert, which references the Tigris and Euphrates rivers of peace, and the 44 of the perfect storm of raven, peacock, eagle, vortex, raven rock on eagle's perch, which was a reference to Enki as well, and her harvest, 38 of the Queen of Cups, in a bold step forward into the lover's womb. A symbol of peace, which peace is P and seal, the peas in the pod, gifted a perch, or a home, a temple. The lesson of the Queen of Cups, having been there to here now, from 55 to 60, and healing the wound. And 55 is the Ace of Swords as well, and moving to peace. In the Excalibur, pulling the sword from the stone energy here. The Knight of the Wands horseman takes off for places unknown, as the 59 is the wailing tree, the inner war of the age of aging at the 11th hour. The 14 of patience of the drifter and experiencing life as it comes, and the wailer inside the tree, where the wailer and the drifter are grieving and channeling, are dry and wet. The 63 lovers out in the cold, heralding in the union changes. The 19 of the fallen angel and the Savior rushing in, and the fallen angel falls to share in the feast of plenty when Judgment Day arrives, Thanksgiving, or thank God each day. As the 24 of the Queen of Wands Omega and Enlightenment, the galactic, I was just getting the North Node, the galactic North Node, and the mushroom scalped, the seed revealed, so it's again the peeling back of the mushroom or the onion, that scalped energy of then the inner seed revealed, the divine matrix as the woodwives gather around the tree, now that the worst is over and the bliss is to set in. The 13 of transition of the dream thief and the monkeys. It's like the Wicked Witch's monkeys, you know, trying to put you back to sleep. With stuff to make you sleepy, as the 23 and the 32 reflect each other. The King of Wands and the journey of fortune's wheel, of luck and right timing. The jeweled web, which jeweled is I, child. The jeweled web of I, child of co-creation, of ebb and flow, connected to the temple of transition. The King of Wands' journey to the center of the earth, which is the womb, the daughter. For the first breath, again, being a child again, the 21 of coming in full circle, which is also Pisces energy of 1 foot in this world and 1 in the next, of being the masculine and the feminine, whole and complete, the divine feminine and masculine and the beginner's mind, the 37 of the 3 keys of alchemy and the King of Cups of unconditional love, with the magician's sword, the 3 keys of alchemy and confidence in your magic, as the sword rising out of the stone. So that came up the other day as not the sword in the earth, but that the earth is literally pushing the sword out of itself, which is the energy of the tree and the things that are coming out of the earth. The Y in the road, the 25 of the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus for rest and renewal, being fresh and clean. Again, the cleaning of the moon, the cleaning of the earth, right? Getting all the tainted energies out as we heal ourselves. The Queen of Wands and the King of Wands and the King of Cups here with the Knight of Wands, with Scorpio, Pisces, Leo, and Saggy, and the underlying energies at 733 of the Chariot and the Christ energy, the 28 of the Twin Flames and the Bountiful Harvest, with the 39 Knight of Cups with a clear endeavor, perhaps Scorpio, and the 16 with inner truths of martyrdom, 33, and the 4D bridge, and standing up to be gentle with oneself at the 22 station of 5D in the leap of faith, healing the root to flower the crown, taking the rainbow root for the big picture so that you can see what it's like from another perspective, right? From another planet, perhaps. And then making magic, a magic wish and blow, as the 46 innocents, the little children, with gratitude and appreciation, the little fairy and the unicorn, which is the horse in disguise, because you can only see the unicorn if you have 5D or above energy, and the magical 50 of the 10 of Cups family, right? The ultimate happiness of the family, the tree from the enchanted forest, the potential gateway here. At 737 of the Chariot and the King of Cups again, the 37 of the King of Cups and the ideal course of action came up in the cards as well. Between the 10 of Cups family and the 7 of the little Chariot or Cancer, causing ripples amongst the pillars, and the hidden temple of 3 keys in alchemy and the pi symbol, the gamma rays of positive emotions and sunshine to shift your energy to hover mode, which again is the energy of the motor of the push and pull. the two propellers going in opposite directions in order to hover, to be in suspended animation. As the 25 and 38, the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups, the 25 of the Knight of Wands, a gift of the garden to keep your dreams alive, to kiss your blues away, as the Queen of Cups, Cancer, an acceptance of love from the magical alchemist, Al, the chemist, from the Philadelphia experiment. Cancer, Leo, and Sagittarius here, as all fire and water exchange here, and two families mixing it up to balance each other's fire and water out at 746. So again, the Chariot, the boomerang ray, the pi symbol, all that comes up with the number 7 and the key, of course. So I was watching something and 939 came up again because it had come up earlier for me, which is the 9 of the Hermit, the 39 of the Knight of Cups. And when I looked it up in Gematria, it was Sydney, Covenant, Invasion, the Holy Spirit, Decode, Don Trump e-message, which I brought up for you before. And then First Prize came up, as well as the 13th entry was the Raven, Under Pressure. And 989 came up as William Drew Johannes Mueller, the God of Heaven, the Rising of the Phoenix. And number 10 here was Decode, the Stone of Sirius. And number 13 was the Stone of Destiny. So, and again, here's just some bigger doodles that I had been doing with the shapes of the mouth with the AE ash, and then the IOU symbol of the eye or the Saturn or Earth on its orbit with the center point there, the 0 point field. And again, the two circles, and you see how they just, the circle is actually a Q, and then this circle is also a Q. So there's always a connection to the third, all right? And then that references the circle in the middle of the infinity, okay? So the 2 8s, and we always have the symbolism of the masculine and feminine twin flames of the 2 8s side by side, because then when they cross over, it makes that third 8. And again, flipping on its side, the infinity symbol is that river running through it, energy. So the next message here, let me just get my books. I had to switch books here, So the next message is Fortune's Oracle. Fortune's Oracle, here we are, with the tea leaves and then the Rider-Waite at the bottom. So here we have that read. Okay, so Fortune's Oracle, and then the tea leaves there, the two halves of the deck, and then the Rider-Waite. So it was only the 3 decks there, so but the same setup basically as the other. And this was on the 11th, from 9:01 to 9:04. These cards were pulled. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shut the door. The 1 and 2 of the Magician and the High Priestess, and then the 3 and 4 of the Empress and the Emperor. And the cards at the end came out to 2, 1, 1, 1, and then 8, 2, 1, 3, 2. The energy of the world, justice, and the dance to one, the journey. The divine feminine, higher self, co-creates the dance with the world, with good news and leading the way, with the 32 there. And the divine feminine and divine masculine, justice, of being strong to transition to ... so to whatever, to everything. The number 213 came up, which is LA, but it's also I'm Batman and the Bride, this Magician, the Magician. So 213 and LA coming up, and of course LA is the angels. And then 821 came up with the number, and under 821, 3168 came up, and September 4th. And under 3168 came Accept Jesus as Savior Now. So the feminine gate holders were coming up here as the 2 on either side, with the 8 in the middle of the dance. And then between them, the 2 and the 8, and the 8 and the 2 is 111, which references co-creation. And the other side was 213, which was that Batman, bride, and magician energy. And the 111 is also the Ram, good, and Mar, which is the sea. And remember, the Ram is in the North Node right now. And on the other side is coming up Batman and the bride, so that references both the masculine and the feminine and the magician embodiment of them. And on the other side is the North Node of the Ram. And good in the middle can reference Libra in the South Node, and then the Mar of the sea. So again, the vortices of the sea. The two queens dance in the pod of the Ram and the Batman. The underlying energy of the 33 unicorn, the vine and career, as the Page of Swords is reversed here, with Christ consciousness and standing up for oneself. The magician and their shadow bride of Mr. and Mrs. Ed. Remember that Mr. and Mrs. Ed are actually unicorns. You just don't see their horns unless you're in 5D or above. And the grapevine at work, or in or on desk, or bug. Rumors, spying, lying. No response, or being really immature here in communication. At 9:53, which is the Hermit and the Knight of Swords, the underlying energy of untrustworthy. The energy of one removing the thorns and the crown. And we have the energies of 3 and 31, which is the Empress, and then the group, the 5 of Wands. The 27 of proposing the Queen's Gambit of Vesica Pisces, the vortices, and the 23 of the King of Wands owl, and the 25 of the Phoenix, the 33 of the unicorn here. So we have the King of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and then the Christ consciousness, or the bridge, bridging to the unicorn, or Mr. Ed. Proposing the owl, the Phoenix, and the unicorn, the Knight of Wands, the King of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the stallions, right? Mr. and Mrs. Ed, or the stall lions. They were coming up as psychic stallions. As the great wisdom comes in, the phoenix rises, and magic, if you just believe, with the Empress who ends conflict with new passions, and the King of Wands and Knight of Wands cross the bridge. So then the symbolism again of the X and the plus sign. So the multiplication and the plus sign comes up here. The X coming up is the gate holders, and the plus sign is the horizontal and vertical pillars. And then here is that Chi rose symbol, which represents Christos. Okay, so it's like that star energy. So the rho Chi basically is just the P, which is the rho, and then the X is the Chi. But they put the horizontal pillar in there as well to complete the star. Right, so that's the X and the plus sign together. And then the P on top, which is actually not a P or D at all, because those lines are already there. So it's really just the backwards C, right? The antithesis, the pairing of the C's, the other C. The C is the Christ consciousness, right? The C is the whispering bench. But here is the bringing in of the other C, the reflection, the shadow. In order to be enlightened, you can't have enlightenment without seeing both. The energy of the 4D rainbow bridge, and the 11 of flowers, the 2 of the angel, the 20 of marriage. The blossoming alignment of the divine feminine wings and wing makers. The union of 11 and 2, which 11 reduces to 2. And 11 is justice, 2 is the divine feminine, or higher self. And 918 came up here in the show timelines. And that was interesting. And again, this is representing the, nines are endings, and it's representing the end of the false pillars, right? Any established leaders that need to come down. The marriage of the glasses, and the 19 of luck, the 17 of love, the 9 of the eagle, 30 of the sun, 22 of the mountain, and 21 of the moon, 15 of the key, and 28 of the snake. Of luck in love, and the eagle sun of Lego, that's a Leo ego energy there. There could be legal energies there too as well though. But Leo, Aquarius, Virgo, and a star that turns into a dwarf. So this literally was coming up as a supernova where the star burns out. So it's supernovas and then it becomes like Sirius B, a dwarf planet. So I don't know if that's happening now, but that was coming up. On the bridge with the angels, making a deal. And then I was getting this energy from Sex and the City of Stephen Miranda on the Brooklyn Bridge, exposing dreams through September, and a supernova moment to back down to Earth and the moon. Soaring through Valentine's plus 22, through the full moon 30th, and Hydra twin flame skeleton key here, right? Because this Hydra is the key that opens it all, because it's like coming from the original snake, right? The original Kundalini is the Hydra twin flame skeleton key. So the full moon is on the 30th again, and we're soaring through Valentine's because the Chinese Valentine's Day is 8/22, through to the full moon with the Hydra twin flame skeleton key, the Earth's Kundalini from root to tip, from womb to daughter moon, the root of Mount Shasta, and then of course the sacral is Lake Titicaca and Peru, and then the solar plexus of Uluru and Ayers Rock, and then the heart of Glastonbury, which also can be referenced to Maui, and then the throat chakra of the pyramids, but also Jerusalem comes up there, and then the third eye again of Glastonbury, the crown of Mount Kailash in Tibet, and the key at the root of 213, the city of angels, flying north then to Shasta, so again to the root again. Shasta, I was looking up some Shasta retreats there too, so I might be being called to go to Shasta. So this is all referencing the age of Aquarius. The next third eye in Capricorn is the third eye is supposed to be in Brazil. Yeah, okay. So the underlying energy of the frying pan came up with the rose, the pig, and the vine. After intuition, the marriage, the bull and the shield. The marriage of the bull, defending oneself to accusations with romance in the air. Beware of greed and seek out information. So again, watch out for your, it's the peacock card, so watch out for your ego or another's ego. As the tiger takes a chance, wearing a different hat, but someone may be trying to put a wedge between you and what you want, with the wall and the flute, and a misunderstanding and a disappointment in a friend or lover here. This is all the underlying energy, though, of July and May, and the star, the career, and guaranteed success here, and then moving into the four-leaf clover of good luck, with coins coming to you, giving or receiving a diamond or a gift, and the weeping willow of family sorrows here also comes up. And so for some, that could be an inheritance. So losing patience, the fallen angel, feeling badly perhaps with the high priestess and the emperor and the knight of cups all upright, perhaps an aide or sister, and the emperor offering love to the 10 of cups reversed family ending of unhappiness, or playing both sides, with the ace of wands passion project and the page of pentacles opportunity to break patterns, with the magician reversed, perhaps someone who's without tools or insecure or manipulative, in order to get aligned with the King of Cups reversed, who may be hanging in limbo now that the worst is over, in the blissful 5D connection, or break, or unrest, with the 7 of Cups reversed, dumping emotional attachments, dreams dashed perhaps. And then Ea comes up there again, with the Page of Cups, which is also Ea, number 40, the Knight of Swords reversed, innocent child, and holding their tongue, as the Knight of Swords reversed and the 6 of Wands reversed, under the radar, may be facing off, with the King of Wands, which is also this year, 23, presiding. But the 9 of Wands wounded warriors on guard, and the 9 of Pentacles is offering to the King of Swords, who may be stressed out with their hands tied, and the Sovereign 9 of Pentacles and Queen of Wands are keeping to themselves for peace of mind, perhaps getting away, with the Ace of Pentacles reversed withholding from the Five of Pentacles left behind, and the Four of Pentacles reversed fixing things up or making amends, with the Chariot reversed broken and stuck, with the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, who's satisfied and stealing from the Six of Cups, their inner children. They could be leaning on them too. At the Four of Wands, the institution or marriage, their stability of sharing or charitable or settling out without a choice. And the Eight of Wands reversed in a heated exchange with the Page of Swords reversed, who could be lying or really immature person, or perhaps a message being blocked. So the Star is upright here with dreams coming true of dumping responsibilities for a Two of Cups partnership. The Three of Pentacles, co-creation. The Hermit upright with the World upright, the Divine Feminine, Pisces, neighbor, or looking back here, with the Knight of Wands upright and the Ace of Swords reversed in a split, or perhaps the need for more information, divided about something, as the King of Pentacles faces their fears, with the Five of Swords upright and the Page of Wands, to be inspired to reap rewards or perhaps retire, to separate and detox and finalize a divorce, or get justice at night or by the full moon. An announcement or call of the Lovers, or Aquarius upright, or Gemini Queen of Swords, ending conflict and defenseless, or perhaps no need for an excuse, as the Empress is upright in her power, and the Queen of Cups is upright, perhaps Scorpio, or doesn't see dark night, leave to receive the Ace of Cups offer of love from the Fool, who's free from weakness and discomfort to start over with the Queen of Pentacles after a sudden event and perhaps drained, with Scorpio upright and reversed, Aries upright, Leo reversed, Libra upright, destined to school the goose and come together again. As the Queen of Cups is upright and the Queen of Pentacles is upright, perhaps dealing with death and drama, perhaps with the Empress upright and the Queen of Swords upright and the King of Pentacles upright, Libra upright and Capricorn reversed, and Cancer and Capricorn reversed with the Empress perhaps. All signs could be represented there. Okay. So again, more came up in a little message I'd done that morning on the 12th. But again, it went into, you know, the target. So if you draw a circle and another circle in it, and then the dot in the middle, and then you put the plus sign, it's literally the, like, you know, the target of the gun is if you're looking through. So that's coming up as the intersection, the grid point, intersecting the path of one where all roads lead home. The middle circle is the eyeball, the 45, the 5D station, a way station to take a break on the way home, right? From the outer circle of the human experience to the dot in the middle, which is source. The sight, you know, that the target is also called the sight, the in sight, the chi rho energy of that P and the X, adding the plus sign, right, of multiplication and plus for source embodiment. The rho is the housing, is where the buck stops here, a link in the wheel, or a kink, the chain. If you cannot untangle the chain, what do? You remove the knot or link that's broken and either replace it or just leave it out and link the other two back together. The X equals the diamond and the plus equals the square, like a diamond head screwdriver as opposed to the flathead, and tightening or locking it into place. The plus box is just unopened, or it's all open but still a box. But the X is the diamond. The open box becomes the light. Not one turning a quarter, but two each turning an eighth towards each other. This is the diamond dance of the rolling stone under pressure for a long, long time, that becomes the rose line, arc or leap, with the heart of the sea, the magnetic and indigo. All right, so this leads us into that message, which was really cool. All right, so, and look at my Instagram with the crystal angels, because I wrote a lot of this down so it might be clearer for you guys to understand. So here is the rose. So think of the giant rose next to Jack and the Beanstalk, all right? So you have the rose line, of the giant rose with the thorns on it. And then you have the giant beanstalk that has the bean at the top. The bean goes into the rose of the flower, okay? So the feminine and the masculine. Roses, remember this is a bed of roses, right? And again, Jack on the beanstalk, which is representing the feminine of the rose line and the masculine of Jack and the beanstalk, right? Jack just being the heart of the sea. So also Titanic was coming up here to represent the energy. So remember, the heart is the reciprocal spirals, but we also have to talk about the crystal heart, right? Because there's a distortion in the golden mean, but both are used, right? There are no mistakes in the dark and the light, right? So the crystal is supposed to be that pure or purer spiral. So you have the rose line and the heart of the sea, and the helix, which is the elevated spiral, and then the heart of the reciprocal spirals. Okay, so that reference of the helix of the two snakes coming up back and forth, again the DNA strand, representing the masculine energy of the sword backpack of the chakra system, and then the feminine heart, the mother's heart. The energy of AEIOU also came up with this, which is the Arctic seabird. The hole, the cavity, the pit, the gap, the opening, and the bamboo. The snake, the serpent, and the blood. And again, the energy of the crystal rose represents the sequence of numbers of 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128, and so on, with a ratio of 2. So here being the feminine is more significant here. And then chakra number 8 came up, and again I was going into Ascension glossary here. And again, the crystal sequence is the number plus all previous, not just the 2 previous numbers, but all the previous numbers. The diamond spiral, the organic 1, 2 of the grid. It was coming up as the K has direct relationship. The crystal spiral has direct relationship with its center point, the heart, the Trinity wave. Whereas the Fibonacci sequence has the bi-wave influences and disperses, or again, wastes energy. So again, this is coming up from Ascension glossary. And again, it's coming up as the sine waves energy. So here's the S, and then the C, the gamma waves here of the heart, and then the sine wave, which is more even, of the circle, but also representing the 2 different energies, right? The spiraling of the Kundalini, and then the heart energy of the gamma wave. Let's see here. So again, the 2 Qs. So she talks about the Vesica Pisces as a closed loop system. But when I talk about the Vesica Pisces, it assumes there's always a third assume, because there's always a center point. And again, the Vesica Pisces with the 3rd circle is the infinity symbol, with the circle in the middle showing the hourglass effect. So you see what I mean. So even when you see the Trinity circles in a triangle shape, if you looked at them from the bottom, you'd still see them as a straight line of circles, of circle, circle, circle. So again, the open loop system she references as the 3 circles. The male rod, the female staff, and the Hieros Gamos, and referencing the Vesica Pisces, or just the 2 circles, as a harness. And again, the distorted energy. So she also referenced there, in just the section that I looked up at that moment, was the crystal star tones of Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, A, and La, of radiant love. So, and then I ended up drawing this of the 2 circles of the 8 of each masculine and feminine, and how they cross over, and then the circle that's shared between them because they're together, and then the energy again of the radiance. And you see how that goes into looking like eyes. The radiant love, and notice that all of this energy comes in at the bridge of the nose, right? The 3rd eye and the bridge of the nose, where you breathe in the breath of life. The golden ratio was also, so I was listening to Dan Winters again as well with Elena Danaan, which is very complicated. It's hard for me to listen to the whole session because he talks very quickly, and obviously he's been studying his physics for a long time. So the golden ratio, he talks about it, that causes gravity, right? So that there's nothing wrong with the Fibonacci sequence. It's related to what we've experienced down here, and we're in gravity, right, as opposed to source energy, right, which is gravity-less. And again, this, he talks about the compression mode, which is that circle in the middle where you put pressure on, and again talking about the I'm just blanking. I'm seeing it and then I'm losing it. Of the crystals, Vogel crystals, right? So the same energy of the Vogel crystals. When you press the center, you can put your intention into the crystal. So again, there's this compression that he's talking about, the compression node in the middle. And again, referencing, Elena was talking about the pineal gland in association with that, the nodal ray that requires intense pressure, because she talks about an experience where one of the ETs had pressed their finger on her third eye and affected her pineal. Impedance matching must be done to touch that ray. The Thoth secret, the Planck fire, the caduceus, the implosion, propulsion, and rejuvenation, which I talk about, that longitudinal interference energy of flipping inside out, which he talks a lot about that too, but I talk about it in a different way because obviously I'm not a physicist energy person. You know, I'm just getting the energy that the messages from my guidance, and I read where I'm guided to go. But he comes from a different perspective, obviously, because he's very knowledgeable about physics and this energy, whereas for me it comes through as an intuitive hit that I then bring to you. So the Egyptian light bulb comes up from him and Elena, as well as the Jed eye, building an electric field to reverse aging, raising a shaman, and the serpents, the conchwaves, the serpent power, and the insulator for high voltage, and the word Jed that actually means the stability of the spine. And again, she was using that reference of those, I don't know what they're called, like for protection that you can hold. But again, they always have a little bump in the middle, the compression node, the still point at center, the charge distribution. So this is more of his notes that I was looking at again, Dan Winter. And evil, he writes on one of his pictures, is failure to embed. And bedding came up with the bed of roses. Failure to embed, which again is the M of co-creation in the bed. Quote unquote locked in equals wrapped your, R-A-P-T and U-R-E, the definition of conscious awareness. And life, L-I-F-E, and again this is all Dan Winter. Skill to enter charge compression or fractality, because that creates a perfect charge distribution. So remember we talked about the one spiral wasting energy, whereas the other spiral, or maybe it's the combination of the two spirals that doesn't waste energy. But anyway, the energies of the womb rays coming together with the sun rays, and not just like a firework that wastes all of its energy. It explodes and it all goes everywhere, just like an orgasm. But again, recycling the energies between in the infinity symbol. The pentacle, the dodecan or dodecanest, he wrote, fractal harmonic series is massaged to life like Ariadne's umbilical cord by the frequency signature of the heartbeat in the moment of love. So I talk about the heartbeat too, but in a different way. But again, it's just referencing the moment of love of the orgasm, of when the heart fully is open and flips inside out, basically. So the energies for me went more into, so I try to write down some of his symbolism pictures, because it's hard though. I just did a really rough sketch. But again, the energy of the heart is the two spirals coming together, and you see they keep overlapping, and this is on and on and on, right? Because this is a repeat and repeat and repeat, just like the Fibonacci sequence. And then here we have the rose heart, which comes up as 5 points. And again, the 5-pointed star, that you always need the odd and the even, the hexagon and the pentagon together. And then the Titanic came up again here as they're expanding for me on Jack and the Beanstalk with the giant rose, the rose line and Jack being the heart of the sea. And the pressure is the turn key, right? So when you turn a key, you put pressure on it to turn it a different way, right? So here's that the space between the rose line and Jack and the Beanstalk, heart of the sea, and then the source energy in the middle, that node point that he's talking about of source energy, and Titanic. So literally, if you break down the word Titanic, it's the Titan, IC, which is the inner child, is also informed consent, and ice cream, of course. But it's also, the Titan is Ti, which is source energy, Ti, and TAN is the Tan Man, it's the human, and then the inner child of the IC, right? I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. It's the eyes, right? Ice cream is cream. Us, cream. You, S, right? So you scream is us, cream. And cream is the C of the whispering bench with ream, which is RE regarding M, I am. The Titan's inner child, the informed consent, the ice cream, you scream, we all, AWL, which is the whole maker, scream, 4, which is the lambda leap, I see the ice cream, or I see with my eyes, I see with the ocean, right, of emotion, the vortices. The all screams is the whole makers, the wing makers, and the scream of SC, which is the TrinoSophia energy regarding the I am. Sophia is cream, right? So scream is one of my sophisms, the S of Sophia, and then cream, which is the whispering bench, and the ream of regarding the I am. Christ regarding M, the whispering bench of Chi Rho, Ia M. At 222, the Titans are Ti source and the Tan Man, the humans, of Cardinal. And I saw a cardinal that day who was on the table out front at that moment. Big, fat, and colorful she cardinal. The cardinal of CA, which is the K energy. And then the RD of the road, the path in all of cardinal. Card in all. And then the blue jay, which brought up the word B is transition, the 13. And then IUEGE came up as the LUEJ energy, which means to look or look after, to watch out for or care for. The transition to care for A. J means home. It also means Jack. It means whiskey, quick, impetuous, and gay, but also the prostitute. Is that sad Jack? So we have the source of the human and the inner child, the 13, right, which is the beyond the 12, the transition to the other side, and the 5 and 6 of the hex and the penta that come together, the odd and the even of the 5, which is the master of the hidden house, and the 6 of the spiraling energy of the mother's heart, right? The aqua rose gold mother's heart. So there's the rose again, along with the master of the hidden house. So the inner child comes up as the 7, is the key, which Ki is the key, which is the earth, right? And again, the mother or the wife of Anu. And remember the nose, and the nose is the bridge. And this was all at the ratio of 2, and the 2, 3, 4, which is the energetic exchange, the arrows of love. And then the triangle was coming up with the square there. Of course, in alchemy, the circle and the triangle and the square, referencing the elements and the signs. And again, the vocals, as I showed you, the AEIOU symbolism of the ash and the earth in its orbit, or perhaps is that Saturn and Kronos and all the issues with the sons killing their fathers, right? Zeus killing Kronos and Kronos killing Uranus. And the energy of the rolling stone and the sword. right? And the sword rising up out of the stone. Remember, the rolling stone rolls horizontally. And the sword is that up and down energy, where the A is the fire under your butt, the rocket, and the E is the temple, and the one equal and congruent to the rolling stone. The row of justice, path of one, or Sophia's tone. So Adam gets Eve rolling and ignites that lowercase I of the chakra system with the third eye on top, and the oval compression, so which is that phi energy, right, of compression. So when it's released back to the O again, and then the U of the U is the reaction, right? So we go from we have the O, and then we get compressed into the oval, which is difficult under a long period of time, so that when it's released back to the O again, you get that ooh reaction, okay? Regarding the act connection of Ro, Ia, Chi, Tyon. That's act connection. The chi, remember the chi rho is the Christos representation, folding in upon itself and then comes out. The rho chi with the ia between, in the space between, in the Tyon, or the Tigris, Euphrates rivers connection, the two flowing rivers. And again, just like the rose line and Jack and the Beanstalk coming together. The top dog connection, the Tyon is also source on. The tiger lioness source energy of Ro, or TIG, which means to pull through, across. To urgently lie on the S, which is the Sophia, and turn inside out under pressure. Again, sex. We're making love with another at the same time and getting all tangled up and corded, unable to untie. So then a whole list of things, but it should be the other way around, like Jack should be on this side as the Christos, and the Sophia should be on this side. But again, the source energy in the middle here as one. So you see here, there's the giant rose coming together with the Jack and the Beanstalk, where the bean goes into the rose. And Sophia is the energy of the S and the rose line. And then Jack, being the heart of the sea, is the sea line of the Christ consciousness. And she represents the rose of that magenta energy, and he of the indigo purple heart. So the Sophia rose line comes up with the helix, the rising and waving of the sine wave, and also signing of the synchronicities. And the Pisces of going from the pi to the Pisces, from the balanced human to that human with one foot in this world, one in the next, or in other words, multidimensional. The phi energy of the compression on the circle in order to create that whoo moment, the cry of the phi and the energy drawing outside the lines, and the 8 dance with the masculine, who's the pi energy. And again, the transition from the Fibonacci, or that phi energy, transition, FIB, to the other side, where he is the C of stationary position of the whispering bench, of the sword and the stone, which is the S word and the S tone of Sophia. The parent of the C's, or parentheses, the two C's that come together, which is the pi symbol. And again, the old way of doing things, or the Fibonacci sequence as opposed to the crystal sequence, and the transition of that. So notice here is the pairing of the C's, right? The C, you have the pi symbol, which broken down is the two parentheses with the one in the middle, which also can represent co-creation, but again, representing 3D. And then again, the tie in the middle, and there's the hourglass of the infinity symbol, and there's the ball in the middle, referencing the compression point, or that 0 point. And then here is the S of the sine wave of the 5D and the Sophia energy. So the Sophia energy is the one equal and congruent to of the E and the atom of the A, and again, that energy in the middle of the atom, right? Of the 3 compressed circles all together with the source point in the middle. The Eve feminine spiraling O of Omega, which is also the W of the two U's. The circling, so it seems, and seams, which is the weaving, the sewing of the cardinal path, the energy path and all, the magenta, and the hexagon, the flipping out. Whereas the masculine side is the alpha, changing with the triangle in alchemy is the masculine of change, or the delta point, the shifting, so it, instead of seams, where she seams and sews, where he beams, right, and then beams out. So being the wood beam and then the beaming out. He is then the blue J, right, the blue Christ energy, where J is without his C for direction, right, the Christedness, with the indigo energy here, all pent up in the 5 being still flipping in, right? So she's learning to flip out and he's learning to flip in. Where remember J and Ev, representing both sides, means home. So again, the symbolism in the middle of all the source energies, bringing them together here as I go down the page. And again, the diamond as opposed to the square energy that comes out of the gift and inside out. And then there's that target here. They all go back to representing the same things. Again, the sight. And then there's that chi rho of the D and the X, the multiplication and the plus sign, divine times and plus, the D and the M, which both represent co-creation, divine masculine, of multiplication plus infinite propagation. The pent-up celebrations of the 5 of the master of the hidden house with the gift of the window, right, with the ash, the icing on top, the bright light of Adam and Eve, of the heartbeat, the evening out, and then the jumping out, up and down of the dam to even out again on the other side. Evening before Adam created a dam and then getting evened out again. The 10 of destined burning of the cross, and the 5 and dime, or 5 and diming, nickel and diming, in the chariots of fire of the 6, the spiraling of the 4 unicorns. And notice now we have 5, 6, and 4, and again in a spiral order. The 4 unicorns of, notice Cinderella's chariot both have cinder of fire and char of fire in them. The 4 unicorns of Cinderella's lover's chariot, and 133, which is the unicorn, and the 33 is up an octave from the number 6. It's a higher vibration on the 8 path of the octave. So the 6 to 33, 6 is the white horse on the bridge. And if you just believe, which is the belly and Eve, the older brother of Eve, or to bleat out, to buy, to act a fool, or the belly of Eve, beautiful Eve, the veil of Eve, the bicycle of Eve. Yes, Eve. 2, 3, 4, 5 cards, and that's the piles that came out here. The 7 of the crack, the 4 of the birth, the 20 of marriage, the 21 of the moon, and the 28 of the snake. Of excitement and birth, the key lambda leap, the wake-up call to bleat, with glasses more than half full on both sides. Escorting, the S of Sophia, courting the moon and the world, which is the mother and the daughter, of romance, of the divine feminine and masculine, but not all is seen. As the twin flame snakes rise, the Hydra energy, to use your intuition for a better path. Just be careful, representing taking care of another. The louage, to care for. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, staying alive, as the dragon flies on an angle, a directional angle of the pulsing heart, the phoenix straight up, and the plane levels up. A trip or journey of 1 and 2, the 27 of the Q and Q. Reaching out in energetic exchange, EE, the 3 and 4, of the bird flying and soaring over the mountains. In the lambda or lambda father leap, meeting in the heart of the dragonfly, and Jack in the box, in the JC Taurus light. The master of the hidden house and the bonfire, the good fire. The crossfire of Cinderella and chariots of cinders and char. As the 4 sparkling unicorns, horsemen arrive, The white unicorn awaits at the end of the aisle, as the lover's chariot spiles up like Santa Claus's as Mr. Ed, all in white, and meets them at the gate in first class, the bridge to the pilot, where the engines turn on, to Christ consciousness. Route 33, the bridge from 22 station, a mountain proposal, or perhaps mountainous proposal, with Excalibur, travel, birth, and marriage. Another world romance of Hydra, and this was coming up as Hydra and Secra, or Hydra and Snakera, or Hydra and Sacra, as hide, seek, snack, and sack, the water ray, sack ray, and snake ray, Gandhi's spinning wheel, and two wheels that spin and weave, spiraling into each other, representing the 28 of the twin flames. As later on, the helicopter came over my house again, like literally shook the window. It was so close to me. So all right, so how do we go from here? So what did I have some more information from the 13th. But I'm just going to go into the next message of the day, because I still have to do the read on the table, and we're already at 146. So let's see where we are here. So this is the Journey of Love, the Shaman deck. All right, and then Nature's Whispers, and then the Energy deck at the bottom. And it was interesting too, because as I wrote about the Cardinals and the Blue Jays reference, somebody else referenced, they both came up too. And it was really funny, because when I looked up Blue Jays, they were talking about them screaming. And when I was watching this one person's video, the Blue Jay was screaming outside of her window. So that was pretty cool. So this one was done last night at 8:27 to 8:30, which is the 27 of the Ace of Wands, the Queen's Gambit, the 28 of the Twin Flames, the Two of Wands, the 29, which is today, the Three of Wands being present in the moment, and the 30 of Union. So that's significant. And all 8 with the 8 dance of the masculine and feminine, manifestation of dreams. And the numbers came out 2101 and 2602, worldly and wise with space between. As the lover, and again, the space between references room for source energy to come in, with you both, which brings you two together. All right, you each have to have your connection to source, which then automatically connects you. As the lover and 2, the spiral and Q, the worldly 21, divine masculine, and the 26 of the inspired, divine feminine. The numbers 602 came up, which is Phoenix, Arizona, to get ready, Alyssa, and nothing to see here. The 260 came up with Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Martin, up, and Pineapple. The number 210 came up, which is San Antonio, Texas, with Moderna, Trackback, and Top. And then 101 came up, which isn't an area code, but it does come up as an international area code for Alaska, 101. And that one came up with I Am God, At, and Asia. 2101 was Wade Watts, Your Service Has Been Hacked, no shit. And then activated master reset code to Earth's grids. And then the 4th entry was 144,000. And then 2602 also came up. The first entry was Ligaverant, Verarum. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Varu, but I can't roll my R's at all. Vera, V-E-R-A, as green, right? And then rum, R-U-M. And then emissarum. So literally what that means when it's translated came out to I smooth or bundle, bind or confuse, truths sent forth, or it just means binding truths uttered or told. The other energies that came up with 2602 is to claim your power, superhuman. Okay, so it's all about claiming your power. To Alaska, to Phoenix, or between Divine Feminines, Alaska and Indiana. Divine Feminine 101 to Lovers 02. So that could be like a starting beginner's course, 101 to Lovers 02. And the underlying energy of the 43, which is the bride offers herself, 55 the farther gate, 9 is the perfect setting, and 14 is caring connections. So again, to care for another. Coming together in confusion of the vortex. The truth of the crack in the rock, and Uluru was just coming through. And the airlock, and again Uluru. The joy of the truth, the hermit's perfect setting, and the 14 of caring connections of higher self. The bride in the cave painting the walls and creating the sunrise of her connection or their connection. At 9:05, which is the hermit and the hierophant, the 4 of the 14 and the 25 of the seat of the heart. 14 is falling here. The 8 of the yin-yang lover. Let me move that. The yin-yang lover, and then the 37 of fire and ice. And Isis came up today too. The 43 of the bride offers herself. The feather falls light, leaving a question mark. The angel Knight of Wands dances with the yin-yang lover bending over backwards to clear the wound. In the middle, between red and blue, between fire and ice, are the 3 keys of unconditional love and light at the end of the tunnel. Sagittarius, Knight of Wands, Leo, King of Cups come together here. And of course, Aries is in the North Node. The 65 of the King of Pentacles, again, the hex and the pentacle energies coming together of the odd and the even. In the King of Pentacles, the breaking, and the 29 of the 3 of Wands spiral dance of the goddess. The 19 of Shakti, which is the feminine warrior energy. And the bride that opens and arcs as the King of Pentacles breaks and folds into themselves again, but that's her. So it's literally the masculine art, like she arches and then he falls on her and arcs onto that. So she's open, wide open, with her heart open wide. But again, she rises in that arch as he falls, right, as he's hunched over, and then folds into himself, which is herself. As she rises, he falls. In the breaking, a gift is planted. The Shakti sun then comes out. The 28 and the 21 of the 2 of Wands, the twin flame world, where the King of Pentacles is present and exposed. The sacred convergence, where she is the moon. The performance under the hanger versus not wanting to be exposed. At 9:29, the hermit and the 3 of Wands of the 5 closing the door of completion, and the 64 of the woodwives adapting in the 13 of transition. The dream thief monkey pointing out the fog after the fires. The earthquake that opens significant historic sighting, that was coming up. So an earthquake that actually opens up a cave. Ending pain and death, on an ending with the truth coming out. From down under, so again, Uluru, where the sun don't shine in the crack. So that maybe the crack is, I don't know if there's an earthquake, there's always earthquakes going on, but there's an earthquake obviously in Australia here that's coming up that's going to expose some historic site. They're all talking about the crack. This was funny too. On the show that was coming up, they were talking about the drug crack. So again, it was confirming the crack. Closing the door to chaos to end the pain, the death or an ending, or dusted and put to sleep, but then the farther gate opened, the deep roots of the tree, the bliss of the forgivable to see, or the fog, unable to see. The bliss of the fog, right? When you're unable to see, you don't want to see. You just want to be in that bliss of being unable to see. But it's also coming up as the forgivable. the bliss of the fog unable to see, until the sun breaks through the crack. The one of the tidy house, which comes up as the tree house, that which rises up out of the stone to reveal its point. All the dead wood around the live trees is your house. The rock to the tree, and Ayers rock is Uluru. So the rock to the tree, to the sword. So they were prepping me for the information they were going to bring up to me next. So the earth is the rock, right? The sword and the stone. And then the sword comes out of the rock, which is the tree, to the sword, Excalibur. And then it was coming up from Hamilton, to the groom, to the groom, to the groom, to the bride, Alexander Hamilton, which is on the $10 bill. Rock, paper, scissors also comes up as the rock of the earth, the paper of the tree, and the scissors of the sword. Rock, paper, scissors. The magic tree of the King of Cups and the Knight of Wands. The 25 of the Garden of Venus, of the Knight of Wands, of the forest. But here in Venus for rest and renewal in the Garden of Venus. The 33 of the Christ vibration and standing up for oneself, the 7 of Wands. The joyful muse, the wildcat standing up. Maybe that could be a comedian as well, doing a stand-up routine. As the 53, and I want to say too, on Lionsgate, literally, there were cats sitting on my lawn twice under the tree out front. And all week, there was like another cat hanging out on my steps too. I forgot to tell you that day on Lionsgate, but that was pretty cool. And under my tree. And my tree out front often comes up as a representation of the magical tree. And I always tease because it looks like when my mother was really pissed off one time, you know, on the ground with her legs up fighting, my tree actually looks like that. So it always cracks me up when I see it. But the 53 of the Knight of Swords, the 60 of the 6 of Swords, the 62 of the 8 of Swords, the 6 of the Lovers, and the 11 of Justice, with the curious stranger with laser hands, and the peaceful totem watching what's going on, the will-o'-the-wisp and the treasure hidden in the shadows, both peace and prisoner of the cosmic womb, the divine feminine, of truth and balance in the dark, the deep quiet of meditation and stillness at 10:10. And there's a read I did yesterday too that was nothing but doubles, like double 29s, double 27s, double 10s, like they kept coming up next to each other because I have the two decks together, the LENORMAND Reverie and the KIPPER decks. And so the double numbers were all coming up right next to each other, all aligned. So at 10:13 is the underlying energy of the 15 to catch your breath, the 40 of show your support, and the 9 of the perfect setting. The little girl who needs her daddy, touching base to ground zero. The Page of Cups, innocent love, which again is number 40 or Ea, and the hermit in a perfect setting of the little girl and the tree, the young lady and the flowers and the birds and the bees, and the man in the canoe. And then ultimately the woman who hermits and paints the perfect sun. Of 14 and 11, the assurance of patience that this too shall pass, of justice and alignment and enough truth to make a decision here. And I was just getting the breakdown of decision of the seas connection. Decision is of the seas connection. So enough truth now you have to make a decision of the seas connection. The 21 of complete world and done with a fresh approach here. At 10:32 of destiny and the journey, the underlying energy of the 39 of the Knight of Cups. The 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. The 36th and the 10 of Wands, and the 2nd chakra, Archangel Ariel. The 45 of the eyeball, and the 45 of the man holding his heart, grieving. The truth and creation of the man's heart, grieving, and the 35 of the 9 of Wands, wounded warrior, which is the 1st chakra, Archangel Michael, between the root and the sacral, and the space that is there. A man with his heart, from root to then tip of the 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel, where the 1st, 2nd, 5th, and 7th chakras all came up here, of the hanging man, the Knight of Wands, and the healing heart, the divine masculine and divine feminine, the Hierophant, and the key. All right, so the twin flames, the master of the hidden house, and the key, right? The 7 being the key to the 3 keys of alchemy. And then the 41 and 14 came up together, which is the the one for all and all for one, or vice versa, right? Crowning, caring connections here of the Holy Grail and that higher love of the 14 and the Temperance card, which is today. The all for one, which is the whole maker for one, the Holy Grail, the whole at 0 point, God's rail, and the one for all, which is the Temperance card, that higher love of all, the whole with the W, the 2 U's. At 10:45, again bringing up the 45 and destined energy of high vibration, the 12 and the 51 of the Hanging Man and the King of Swords, and the Temple path, the Temple being the E path, right? The E tower, we talk about the feminine, the healer of the ages, the 31 of the door to value, and what's your pleasure? What's your pursuit? What can the group offer you? At 10:21, where the King of Swords, Libra, then comes up, the 47 of the 7 of Cups and the Thinking Woman, with options and open book, and he with rest and rejuvenation for a sunshiny disposition at 10:52, which is then referencing the Queen of Swords and Libra energy again. Remember, Virgo to Libra is the center point of the astrological chart. So then today, before I get to my read on the table there, I was guided to my alchemy book. All right, so I didn't open to a page today. So again, it's my Most Holy TrinoSophia about Saint Germain, and Manly P. Hall is the author here. But it has ancient scripts that are then translated. And I didn't open to a page today. I wanted to open to the symbols to see which ones I wanted to know more about. And there were some great pictures here, because as you can see, this represents the Kundalini, and then you have the wings and the snake and then the Holy Grail on top. But also you see the snake here. This is the sword in the ground. Okay, the sword in the stone is the sword closed off when you're not awakened in the earth. But then as you awaken, the sword turns around and ends up going up here and being the pin that's in the cup that holds the candle of the flame. Okay, so there's really significant energies here. Another picture that came up that was really significant. Hold on one second. All right, so this one was also very significant. Okay, so you see this is the altar, and you see how here it is with the 8. So the snake is just represented with the 8. And then you have the open circle there. It's the smushed circle, right? The one under pressure. And then you see this is a reference to a human right here, but a human angel as they become enlightened in the cup, where the sword runs through it to the candle, which is then lit at the top for a slow burn. We have the bird here at the altar as well as the thread, okay? And of course the Ankh is at the top there. And that references the Celtic cross, also references this human right here, the Celtic cross, because that also represents the flower and the 2 propellers spinning back and forth in opposite directions. What's another picture? Oh, I had to show you this too. This was really cool too. Again, this symbolism too, again, the eyes and the nose. We talked about the bridge today. And where's that last one? And they didn't go into really the details of this pyramid here, because they described the picture before it, but they didn't go into detail about this one. But I wanted to show it to you because it was really cool. So check out this pyramid. So I first noticed E, because I'm E in Evelyn, but we talk about the E tower, and we were, referencing Eve. But look at this line here, which is the 8th line down and the 3rd line up, which my soul number is 38, and my name Evelyn adds up to 83. But the simple numbers add up as 29, which is today's date present. But notice it's Ev and Evie, and then Ev T, which is the top dog energy. But Tut comes up here, King Tut. So there's Egyptian reference and Tiev. But again, I Ev coming up again. And then here was the energy of at, like the at symbol. And then this is like the M. But it also looks like the 177 of the sovereign, and this looks like a Shokore reference as well. And then again, the energy of the 3 pyramids at the end here. So it was a very significant line that I noticed. So it's referencing for the divine feminines in their power. And remember, I brought up that Ev means house, as well as J for the masculine. So what else came up here in my notes here? So again, this was the reference to the Celtic cross, because this is both the flower, the Celtic cross is in the spaces between, and it also represents two propellers going in opposite directions, okay? And that represented that human that I drew this picture of, that picture I showed you. So again, that's all this energy right here, where the sword goes into the candle. You know, the candles always have that little stick coming up out of the cup to hold it straight. Well, that's the sword, now upright, because now the Kundalini's awakened. And you see these other little drawings I was making of that energy. So the energy, I was looking for the Chi Rho energy, again, that P and the X, to see what more symbolism was coming up. And I sneezed. But I was getting that C up at the top represents the snake's head of the Kundalini at the top. Right, where it all began from, which was coming up as Hydra. The P, or the image 30, was the cross, the sword in the ground, or the stone, with the snake. The snake's head was sticking out on the one picture there with the wings and up on top. The handle of the sword and the cross is the Kundalini rising into the cup of the sword's support, the holy communion that enters the Holy Grail. The energy of the cup and the candle and the flame, atop of the sword down through the snake and the earth. The handle's point holds the candle inside the cup. So again, I showed you all the pictures that I kind of drew here. Let's see if I missed anything that I want to tell you. So when I looked up, so Eve references the freedom and the stability of the 5 and the 4, which is why I bring it up. But it's also my nickname, of course, EV. But it's important there because it comes up as the 5, the E is 5, and the V is 22. Its base number is 4, but it's the 22nd letter. And so the E and the V come up as number 522, which I looked it up, and it was the first entry was the Holocaust, then documents, and then Aryan, but spelled Aryan, and the 4th entry was daughter of God. The 5th entry was the helicopter crash, and then the 6th entry was April 19th, and then Franciscus came up after that, and then Lucius, and there's that reference to Lou again. And then the 9th was Cookie Monster, which I love that, because I'm definitely a Cookie Monster. So the energy of the temple or royal house, which is EV, that's a definition for EV, as well as it came up for J, the house. The lowercase I is the chakra system with the 3rd eye. And then the house of the T, right? T is the top dog. Also time out, of course, and other things, but it references source energy. It's the only dead end there is. And then the source of EV, which is the egg cracked open, creating with that at symbol, at the M, which is co-creation, and then the Shoko ray energy of putting the power here. The gamma ray and the spiral and the pi boomerang. And EV also, 22 plus 5 equals 27. So again, referencing the house of the Queen's Gambit. All right? So EV equals 27, and then the 5QQ, again, referencing the 3 circles, right? Because the tail enters another circle. So again, the 3 circles, which is the infinity symbol with the circle in the middle. And again, the 5 represents the S of Sophia, all right? So the divine feminine energy. So the 3 circles and the infinite with circle in the middle, the 0 point field. And again, the 5 being the master of the hidden house, and the 22 being the wise fool. Again, the 5 and the 22. Of the masculine and the feminine coming together. So this is very profound energies coming in for you guys. All right, so then I redrew the energies to, again, representing Jesus on the cross, right? The cross is stake in the ground when the earth is in 3D. He is the hanged man with a stake in the ground, the Kundalini asleep of the exclamation point, where then it becomes the lowercase I when it's awakened, and the sword turns right side up this way with the point upward, holding the flame, okay, inside the Holy Grail. And again, here's the human enlightenment going through those ash energies, right? So this is the energy of AEIOU, right? The ash on top, the Adam and the Eve with the IOU from Ea, all right, to get that sword out of the stone. So it's really cool because then it becomes the tree of life. Really cool. So the energy of the human Celtic cross, flower, butterfly, and bidirectional propeller supporting the slow burning flame, where Frosty becomes enlightened, angel with a halo, and then instead of the hangman becomes the hanging man upside down, where his limbs are free to fly in the royal house of one. Okay, so really profound energies there. Okay, so our last message is just a quick read from the table here. I don't think I have a snapshot of it though. Do I? I don't think I did. All right, but I tell you the cards, did I? Let's see here. Maybe I did. Look at that. Nope, that's not it. All right, so I'm just going to tell you the read on the table. So this was done on the 10th. The SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut at 10:40. And I kind of wanted to delve more into the Philadelphia experiment and why the message was coming up and what is actually coming through in this boomerang energy we're in still now. At 10:57 is the Ascension energy that came up in the read. Before the read was Strength, Higher Self, and the Starseed, which is the Fool. And after the read, the Chariot came up. And I pulled some extra cards, which ended up being Abundance, Reason, which is the Emperor, and the Tower. The numbers came up 1441, so there is the date today, right? The 14. And then the 41. Today's the 14th, and we just talked about the reflection of the all for one and one for all energies coming up here in this read as well. The King of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and the Page of Wands came up in the read, and after the read was the King of Wands and the Page of Cups. There were triple fours and triple tens, excuse me, and then double fives. There were actually 4 tens altogether, including the extra cards here that I pulled at the end, all right? So this, I kept these because we had both the Emperor and the Empress together with the 10 of Pentacles, which is heaven on earth, and then the Tower energy, you know, which can represent a sun event or an epiphany or a sexual exchange, right? So it's very much that energy of heaven on earth as we're heading towards that energy. So the triple fours is the angelic realm. The double five is Excalibur, the Ace of Swords, which obviously came up a lot this read. And then the triple tens of that very high vibration that became a 4th 10 with this one right here. So all 4 tens came up in this read. So the highest of vibrations, along with the 7 coming up here in a less significant way, but the key. And then 3, 4, 5, referencing the 3D, 4D, 5E, but with an emphasis on 4 and 5, and going to 7, right? And 6 is that instant manifestation type of energy. So it's like going right to the 7. It's like we're in the 6, going to the 7 as twin flames, not everybody, obviously. So the code line here was about the number 14 that came up from 4 and 10, which is the reflection of 10-4, message received, perhaps needing to receive the message, with S and the A, and the code line here being the SA for 1 of 2 digamma rays in an IV ascension of destined energy of full-time equivalent or urgent fire or fire department coming up here. So again, the urgency of, again, this year is the King of Wands and the 23, and learning how to balance your passions or balance your fire, which came up as the message today of enlightenment. The 74 was coming up here, which is the 6 of Pentacles, of sharing, being charitable. The 1 of 2 reflecting creation, completion, and destiny of the moral man's urgent fire. And again, putting out that fire to make it a slow burn. The energy of saying the Emperor, 1 of 2, Hierophant, in the Hierophant's world, the marriage, the religion, the commitment, the contracts, the 10 off the candelabra perhaps that you now want to buy. The Emperor supports the Hierophant's ascension high vibe of reflecting the moral man on fire. So we have this energy of the Emperor, which is all about control. But, you know, upright, hopefully in a positive way. Right? Being a leader to others. Whereas the Hierophant comes up as the societal norms, but also can reference the opposite of that, which references the master of the hidden house in alchemy, the one who achieves that neutrality, the only one who is worthy to sit in judgment, right? To make decisions, perhaps. And that needs to be you of your own world. The ascension of high vibe reflecting the moral man on fire and learning how to master their passions. So it starts out here with the King of Pentacles and the underlying energies here. So the King of Pentacles is on top there, and beneath that, he's reversed. Beneath that is the Strength card upright, then the Four of Swords reversed, the Higher Self upright, the Starseed upright, and the Ace of Cups upright. And that was at 1251, the Hanging Man and the King of Swords. So a strong awakening here, strongly awake, the higher self in a leap of faith, receiving an offer of love from the King of Pentacles. But he's reversed. Destined, or perhaps Libra, King of Wands reversed, Leo, or strong detoxing in order to start over, holding on to defense or excuse when being interrogated by the Magician with all their tools on board. Perhaps dysfunctional. This could be, the Ten of Pentacles reverse comes up here, which is usually an energy of dysfunction, whether it's a family or business or the world at large, with the Page of Cups reversed and the King of Pentacles reversed and the Five of Swords reversed here, of ending the war within. And again, the Page of Cups comes up reversed. And again, the reverse of Ea is AE, of Adam and Eve, of the children that Ea seeded. The rejection, emotional immaturity, and the King of Pentacles reversed post-war, the inner trauma, and the Page of Cups reversed. Not so nice. And may not be the King of Pentacles reversed. Or this could be twins around the King of Pentacles reversed, or two-faced King of Pentacles reversed who messed up because of the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, community, or legacy. The King of Pentacles reversed, remember the King of Pentacles is the one who falls on the open-hearted divine feminine in the vortex. And the King of Pentacles reversed is done fighting with them. The recent past of the Ten of Cups reversed, frustrated King of Swords reversed who's clinging, or after death, juggling, performing, or up nights, seeing things about their ex, or ghosted, with some unknowns here, right? The mystery, or the ghosting. As Scorpio and Gemini are both reversed, and the foundation is the Four of Wands reversed, the unstable home, after the truth from the King of Pentacles reversed, to the Nine of Pentacles reversed, which can reference their own dependence, or a dependent child or partner, and dependent spending, or didn't compare prices, with the Temperance card upright, which is today, and patience and balance, or the truth about a patient, or truth of a higher love, to the Nine of Pentacles reversed, dependent, or powerlessness, and the Page of Wands reversed, who are not on the same page about an investment of time, money, or effort, or in disconnect or at a distance, where the central energy here is the Five of Wands and upright, right? That's the conflict. Or is that the pursuit of happiness? The waves of flames. The King of Cups here is conflicted. He's upright, but he's conflicted with the home and family, with the Four of Wands reversed, unstable or moving, and the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy or ending that emotional cycle. As the Knight of Wands reversed player is set free or fell short of their expectations, and the Fool with no choice but to be free, and the Page of Pentacles with an opportunity to get in on a pyramid scheme and perhaps was hung out to dry, or an assembly line work type of thing, or overtime and left hanging in limbo. As Sagittarius reversed and Aries upright here, Pisces and Capricorn upright as well, and the challenge being the Ascension world reversed, or in the 5D, the world upside down, or in another world. Quit, fired, letting go, or dumping responsibilities with the Fool upright to receive a big love from the King of Cups, or unconditional love, the Three Keys of Alchemy. Perhaps a Cancer, or a Chariot, a car, or travel. It could be a trip. A third party through work. Perhaps the High Priestess willing to fight for them, or willing to aid in the pursuit of happiness, or perhaps sports, or a trip to the Olympics. And now crowning is the Three of Cups, and celebrating a release of something, overexposed or drained, low energy, healing, forgiving, apologizing, or going away party here, right? That could be someone leaving work. Almost done with a huge cycle, looking back at the Queen of Swords reversed, the Knight of Pentacles reversed, and the Knight of Cups reversed, with clarity, and settling out or sharing with those less fortunate, or patients and doctor, or advising those in need, or perhaps free screenings here. As the Queen of Cups is upright with Cancer in their chart, or making an announcement to unhappy families to find happiness within themselves. And soon here is the Ten of Wands reversed, letting loose with the Three of Cups in a celebration or coming together in joy, after the Nine of Wands wounded warrior defended their wrongdoing, coming together to end the party. Perhaps for the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Empress reversed. So somebody's coming together in joy to end the party for these two energies, the Queen of Pentacles and the Empress both reversed. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Four of Cups reversed, starting over with good news to the King of Cups. Now that the worst is over, of injustice, of no sleep or awakening, or moving to peace, withholding, or by playing hardball. As around the twins or how they're seen is the King of Cups upright in energetic exchange or hours of love or that EE of the Rolling Stone with drama after a sudden event, or perhaps southeast or an epiphany. The Knight of Swords is upright with the Page of Swords reversed, perhaps depressed with the Emperor reversed, with Libra, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Aries all reversed there. The block is the Ten of Swords reversed, the ending of pain, the bliss, and the Hierophant upright with the Eight of Cups, walking away and within as master of the hidden house. The bliss of the Hierophant, leaving or walking away. And is that his bliss of walking away or somebody else's bliss of them leaving? The Page of Wands reversed with the Six of Cups upright and the Queen of Wands upright, who may be frustrated moving, traveling, with the Queen of Cups upright, or up early or up all night to wake up with the Ten of Cups reversed, ending an emotional cycle that's overdue, or to be happy and get over the loss, the regret of the past. As the Page of Wands reversed may be all over the place, and the Chariot upright perhaps drove to the Hermits, who's in exile. As the King of Wands and the Page of Cups both reversed here, perhaps witnessed receiving information from the Empress reversed and the Emperor reversed, and the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family of means, after a sudden event or constant drama. But again, someone witnessed this here. The King of Pentacles reversed may be moving or starting over, with the King of Cups upright, and with the unhappy family, the Ten of Cups reversed, or ending this emotional cycle of battling families, challenged by the need for closure and the need to confess to end the pain of coming together with the Page of Wands reversed, to go to the King of Wands reversed and the Page of Cups reversed, who may be receiving stolen information or goods from the Empress reversed and the Emperor reversed after a sudden event or constant drama. And that was at 2:59. So again, the feminine energy, the higher self, and then again the 11th hour of the 59 of the war within. All right, so I'm going to let you go because we're getting really late here, but I will pull a quick card. I want to go to the Fortune Oracle deck. Just one card, please. It's 222:51 there. So room 222 with the King of Swords. And on the clock, it's 3:59, the 11th hour of the Empress. Just turned 4. So there's the Emperor, and he's got his source backing him up. So if the Emperor and the Empress are battling, the Emperor may be winning out here. All right, so here we go. The Eagle. So the Eagle soars. The number 9 is the Hermit. The Virgo, the endings, the compassion, the one for all and all for one. And he's soaring over to the 33, the 4D bridge of the unicorns, Mr. and Mr. Right, the light and the shadow of the unicorns, going to the 5D side across the bridge for some lover's romance over here. Okay, so and again, this could reference the U.S. as well, with the unicorns and the twins. And again, here's 9/18 is my birthday, so that's a divine feminine reference with the Christ in the space between, the Christed twins in the space between. Wow. The bottom of the deck is the key, the 15 of the key of alchemy. The 15 is the Capricorn energy in the shadow side. Again, the skeleton key that opens all doors, not just one, right? The skeleton key opens them all for the lover's bliss here. And the marriage, right? The wake-up call to the marriage that both glasses are more than half full, even though they're not equal. They're both more than half full. And again, there's that spark of Christ consciousness coming up in the middle. And again, to break the old chains and to build the new with the birds, the transformation of the journey here, of love and the stars, of having your dreams come true. So let me just see these cards all together here. So remember, eagle comes up as Ea. Ea's glee, his children, right? His children, and specifically twin flames here, because we're talking about twin flames. And the lovers, the divine lovers, romance. There are two paths ahead, so make sure to be true to yourself. And again, the marriage, that it's never going to be equal, but if you both always are more than half full, what's the problem there? There is no problem, right? Because you're doing a dance back and forth. There's the 32 of the breaking the chains of transformation, to reach out for the power and the strength to make changes, enrich your life, and become the person you want to be. So again, there's the birds coming in to hold things together, to hold the bridge together while it's being rebuilt. Very interesting, because when I had to come back from the airport taking my daughter, I forgot the two exits were both closed. So the Bridge Street exit was closed, and the Cotman Avenue was the one. Remember the news about the truck fire under the bridge that collapsed the bridge, or collapsed the exit, whatever it was? That was Cotman. And I forgot both exits were closed, so I had to go down another exit, which I'm not familiar with getting off there, so it took me a bit long to get home, and I had Teddy in the car, but it worked out in the end. But very interesting about the bridges there, like all the bridges that are being rebuilt here, 2 exits in a row. So again, and the birds holding it together while they're rebuilding here, right? For dreams to come true, and hours of love, and big transformation in this journey of dreams coming true. And again, the star energy of the 17, that love surrounds all your connections, move forward positively in all areas of your life. So there you have it. And I have to show you a picture of my new niece, which is they've already posted her picture, so I have to show you. Let's see. Sweet little girl. So my new little great niece, Olivia. So sweet. Okay, you guys, remember your water, your rest, your joy, your nature. You guys know what to do. It's 4:04 on the clock now. So there's definitely some support for the masculine energy here of the Emperor. But again, the 4 is the Lambda Leap, the masculine connecting with source energy. So that's a really good thing. Rise and be loved.